I have a great, I love questions like this because I always have a great first two words for any answer. It depends. It depends on, because it depends on what your goal is. So do you have a goal?
Yes.
Okay, what's your goal?
To finish without stopping and ride about 4 hours.
Okay, so you're looking at basically like a 9:09 pace. That's right around a 4 hour. Not with that attitude, it won't. So, part of what got me into Boston was practicing a goal marathon pace. So I practiced a pace that was actually turned out to be faster than what I ran, but I knew that was going to happen. There was going to be a little slowdown on race day. And so you practice that so you feel what it's like. You learn it, and it sort of gets ingrained in your head. Okay, so this is what, in the middle of a long run, this is kind of what a 9:09 feels like. And that way it'll feel familiar on race day, and you won't feel like you're running outside yourself. If you take off on race day and a 9:09, you feel like you're dying, then you're running outside yourself, and so you're not feeling good. I've actually felt really good at CIM 2014 when I qualified for Boston. I ran that race even. I felt good through the entire race. Now, down the stretch, I would have told you that I was running a lot faster than I was because I had not sped up at all. But I felt like I was moving a lot faster, but I felt good through that entire race. And it's a thing that takes a lot of practice. I don't think most people can go out and just immediately get good at pacing. It took me 3 years before I was even probably average at it.
Well, and there are cues. Your body will start to tell you when you're overdoing it. I think it was Shamrock 2013. I trained for it, and I started, and I was running fast. I had Chariots of Fire playing in my head, and I got to mile 6, and I was like, I feel awful. My heart rate was too high. I was breathing too hard, and I took a second. I'm like, okay, maybe I just slow down. I slowed down. My heart rate came down a little bit. I was able to breathe a little bit easier. The nausea went away. So, there's a whole host of things that happen when you're running beyond your physical, what you've trained for as far as your body. So I would say you kind of look for those cues. Your heart rate is a good place to start.
Yeah.
How heavily you're breathing. In a race, you shouldn't be panting the whole time. That's probably too fast for you. In a race, you should be able to maybe say one or two words to somebody that you're running near. But if you're having an all-out conversation, you're just having a good time, and that's okay. That's totally okay. But if you have a very specific goal, just look for the cues and how you feel when you're running.
Yeah, and I would say early on, you don't want to feel like you're really working really, really hard. It's okay to feel like you're working really hard at the end of a marathon, especially when you're racing it, because you are working really, really hard. But at the start, you should feel fairly comfortable. You should be able to hold it. It shouldn't feel like it's a lot of work.
And how do they dial in training? And like if he's saying, hey, I want to finish around 4 hours, but that could be anywhere from running 4:15 to 3:55. How can they start to settle in and find in training? What are some cues or some workouts or some things that they can start to dial in to sort of kind of get that window of what is appropriate pace for them in training? So they can be ready on
that's
race
another
day.
benefit to adding different components and speeds to the training plan. So you can get a lot of indicators from a speed workout or a tempo run or even a prep race. You plug those numbers into a calculator and it gives you a ballpark figure. Now on race day, you got to be honest with yourself. You can't say, well, I think I'm going to try to go 5 minutes faster, because then that gets you that much closer to your half marathon pace.
Yeah.
And you can practice pacing. You talked a lot about goal marathon pace, but you can practice good pacing in a tempo run. You can practice, like if you want to do a 9:09, if you're able to go out and run 9:30 miles for a long run, that's a good indicator that you're pretty close. I guess that's about it on that. I mean, I would also say, even when you're in the race and you feel good, don't pick it up.
Right.
When you're at 12 miles, don't pick it up. When you're at 18 miles, don't pick it up. I mean, there's still a long amount of the race. Just know that you're feeling good, and then just maintain that speed.
Yeah, to add on, Charlie hit on something really important, that you're going to always want to practice pacing. So if you're out on a long run and your easy long run pace is 9:30, practice staying at a 9:30. Because the more you practice it in different situations, the easier it gets overall, and the better you will be at it. So it's not just a matter of practicing your goal marathon pace; it's practicing pacing all the time.